Welsh Fire have been a huge disappointment. I mean, there's neither been many Welsh nor much fire.
The results didn't go well and a lot of people really wrote us off.
Bowled him.
The Welsh Fire have had an absolute shocker for the last few seasons.
The 100-2023 draft.
It's a big, big day for the Welsh Fire. I think Tammy's one of these people that when she's got a point to prove, she is very, very dangerous.
Captaining the Welsh Fire means an awful lot to me, for the guys to have faith in my leadership, to build a team and to lead the team. I was incredibly hurt actually by people in the media or whatever saying, you know, it shouldn't be Welsh Fire, it should move to Bristol, it should be here, it should be in Taunton. There's no point them having a team, like all those kind of comments, like really upset me and kind of really got to me, which is why I was desperate to come back and change things this year. Certainly learnt a lot and learnt to enjoy it a lot more. Hopefully has changed kind of my leadership and how we go about it as a team.
I thought they selected in the draft really well. Sophia Dunkley and Shabnam Ismail were fantastic signings.
The fact we came last meant we had really favourable draft picks. But for us, the main one was getting some depth with our bowling, an experienced strike bowler, so that's the likes of Shabnam Ismail.
Yeah. Ismail gets there. Ismail takes the catch. And she does.
Well, we wanted a really good domestic or English batter to strengthen the depth.
Lovely, lovely hit. That's all the way.
Someone of Sophia's ability was just too hard to pass up. When we saw Freya Davies was still available, we were just thinking that's, you know, an absolute steal for us.
Oh, on target yet again!
Threatening at the top, she bowls at the death, she's hugely experienced, but actually as a person, she'll add to the team.
I thought Mike Hussey was a good choice for them. Excellent coach, really solid, good guy, but he was a prolific batter in domestic cricket, and when he did eventually get into the Australian side, unbelievable talent, unbelievable. You know, some people you just talk to in a bar or something. I've always thought he talks a lot of sense.
I think it was a job that really excited me. Obviously, it was a place that hadn't had a lot of success. I think it was a great opportunity to try and help build something. I'd sort of experienced something along similar lines in the Big Bash with the Sydney Thunder. I saw a little bit of parallel there, and it's a job that I learnt so much from. Best feelings I've had in my career, really. So I was hoping something like this might happen with the Welsh Fire.
So Welsh Fire have selected Tom Abell. He's a captaincy option for them, isn't he?
I didn't know him at all, to be honest, but yeah, that was one of the main things we needed to get right, is let's get a really good leader in. We know he's a good player, but we wanted a really strong character and a really strong leader. We identified Tom pretty early as someone that might, have an opportunity to come to the place and lead the club forward over hopefully a number of years.
I saw it as, a real opportunity, a fresh start, and hopefully a chance to try and build something here in Cardiff. The opportunity to work alongside Huss was a huge draw as well. They stated how they wanted to build the team and, the types of players and the types of people that they wanted here. But of course, you have to adapt within the draft. We only had a couple of days, to be honest, before the start of the tournament. We were really keen to try and build something and create a really good environment. So it was a case of trying to have really clear roles amongst the group.
When we got together, it was about, okay, how can we get this team to gel? And I wanted the guys to try and get to know each other at more than just a superficial level. I wanted to try and go a bit deeper, sort of talk about their story and their life and some of the things they've had to go through, and it certainly sparked up better conversations, in the team bus and around breakfast and things like that. I think it took a few of them out of their comfort zone a little bit, but it was great. That's probably the main thing, just trying to develop slightly deeper relationships amongst the group. But no, the boys are in good shape. They're a really good bunch of guys. Seem like we've settled in pretty well, pretty relaxed and excited for the game, really.
After what happened in the previous 2 years, you need a good start. You got a new captain, new coach, new overseas, new ball bowler, against a very, very good side, high quality side.
You're just desperate to get going in the competition, and obviously we wanted to try and start well.
Well, just as we're just saying the toss is done and we're ready to come back, it started to rain again.
It has.
Oh,
it is
my goodness.
absolutely torrential rain behind us at the moment. You couldn't make it up, could you?
Yeah, a real sort of wave of emotion through the day, to be honest. I think after the first couple of days of preparation, obviously there was a fair bit of waiting around and uncertainty about whether we were going to play at all in that first game.
And game will start in just a couple of minutes' time. We've been waiting all day for this.
40 balls. It was just going to be a bit of a lottery, really.
And I thought the way the boys reacted and the innings that Wellesley played that sort of really took the game away from Manchester.
Superb effort from Wells to get them up to a stage where they make 94 from their 40 deliveries. That is going to be a very challenging chase for the originals, but it looks like the pitch is playing all right.
We made a couple of little strategical changes. Wells was actually meant to bat 3 in that game. Luckily, it paid off. You know, he batted unbelievably well.
There's a certain level of cricket that you'll think, oh, that was good. But then there's another level of sport or cricket where you just think, oh my gosh, that was good. That's what Shaheen Shah with the new ball does, and that's what he brings.
Left arm, first of all, at the pace that he bowls. When you have players like that in tournaments, it really creates that excitement for the crowd and for the fans, and you know they're going to deliver.
It just amazes me, you know, like every batsman in the world knows exactly what Shaheen's going to do. He's going to bowl full, he's going to try and swing the ball back and hit the stumps, and yet you've still got to be able to play it, and it just swings so late, and it's a good pace that he's just got this ability to knock over the best players in the world.
Talk about world class. There doesn't get anyone better than this man with a brand new white kookaburra in hand. He has everything that you'd want. Big shout given! The best bowler in the world!
There are literally deliveries that he bowls at times that are unplayable.
Laurie Evans up against one of the best in the world, and he'll know exactly what's coming at him. Sometimes you just can't do anything about it. And again! Stop it! Shaheen Shah, Afridi! This is amazing!
So the first 2 balls, first 2 wickets, and the first 2 big moments for the Welsh Fire to kick off their season.
So final ball, 11 needed. Bowl a legitimate ball. He does. Whipped away by Butler. But the cheers go around, and that man on screen, Luke Wells, a huge part of the Welsh Fire getting off to a winning start.
It all sort of came to fruition in that first game, and we got that first win under our belts. You know, cricket is a massive confidence game. Probably brought us closer as a team again.
I think a lot of the people involved with the Welsh Fire, that they were so excited, you know, just to get a win on the board was, you know, a big sort of monkey off the back. We obviously, you can't sort of dwell on it too much. We sort of pretty much travelled and played again the next day.
I kind of thought my only goal was to not get the wooden spoon again, do well enough that I don't lose the job as captain. For me, it was about controlling what we could control, and that was making everyone feel really comfortable and valued and able to feel like they can express themselves in the way that they play.
Just on the way to the nets for a hit, actually my first day with the team, so nice to be involved with everyone and get started. And we've got a really talented squad, obviously a lot of new faces in there as well, so I'm sure it will have a bit of a different feel this year, and I think everyone's really looking forward to trying to prove people wrong about the Welsh Fire and hopefully get into that finals day.
The Southern Brave, with Charlotte Edwards as coach and Anya as captain, and Smriti Mandana and Danny Wyatt at the top of the order, etc., you are always going to be a threat.
The team that finished bottom last year have a washout first game, and then your first game be against arguably the form team for the last 2 years who've never lost at home. So, yeah, I thought that was going to be a very tough game.
Giving her width, just what she wants to get her campaign underway. That's where she's so good, Hayley Matthews. She makes it look so easy.
Oh, that's craft. That's high class.
Got 160 odd. That was a really good score, and if we bowled well, that we should defend it. But I did say to the girls that Danny and Schmitty normally create quite a lot of chaos. Let's stay as calm as possible, stay calm in the chaos. They're under a lot of pressure once those two are out.
It's going to be a fascinating run chase, this one. If it is successful for Southern Brave, it'll be the highest successful chase in the women's 100. Quite a task ahead of Southern Brave.
For me, it was all about trying to stay calm and just keep rolling the dice, really keep changing things up.
Don't want to bowl there, too minded up. She's very strong in that area. Full toss. She's not going to miss out on that.
Got that big wicket of Danny Wyatt, and I think once we got that, I just kind of said to the girls, right, let's all take a breath here. Let's just calm down. That was chaos, but now we've got a chance. Let's just control this game. Because at that point, they probably should have gone on and won it. When Hayley had bowled her third set, thrown the ball back at me and said, don't bowl me again. Me kind of go up to her and go, actually, Hales, I really need you to do it, mate, any chance? And she was like, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Final ball, DK.
Last ball.
Oh, I think the Welsh Fire have just pulled out the bag.
I think it was massive. I think
Excellent
for
win.
me, that was the moment that you believed we could really compete with absolutely everyone. Certainly felt like the girls believed coming off the pitch that we can take on anyone after that.
The men's game is coming up as well very, very shortly. What entertainment we've had in the women's game. The boys are here, the lads are getting warmed up, and final bits of preparation are being done.
Yeah, it was a bit of a thriller, wasn't it? First innings, you know, we felt in good control of the game. The bowling unit, they sort of took wickets all the way through.
Got him! This has been a wonderful performance with the ball by the Welsh Fire so far.
I felt like we probably dominated the game for most of it.
Oh, God, it may have just kept down a little bit.
One thing I've really noticed in this competition is all the teams bat very deep. Even if you take wickets, there's always players coming in at 7 or 8, you know, that can clear the ropes. Chris Jordan played an incredible innings.
Straight down the ground, that is Jordan at his best. He says enough is enough. Free hit. Now let's put some runs on the board. Big 6. And Chris Jordan walks off 70 not out from 32 balls.
Got him up to a score that we still felt like we could chase down comfortably, but it was a competitive score.
We certainly didn't feel out the game. We felt pretty confident that we had it within the dressing room to chase those runs down.
That's going to help. That's going to help big time. Tantalise, field it out at wide long on, down to the final ball. David Willey, 31 from 18. It is on him. And it's on to Mal Mills. High in the air, should be caught, should be a Southern Brave win. He takes the catch.
It was a very strange feeling after the game because it felt, you know, for 90% of that game, it felt like we dominated it.
Yeah, it was disappointing we couldn't quite get there and get over the line. That would have, you know, obviously a dream start, 2 wins from the first 2 games. But I think for 90% of that game, we bowled really well. Just couldn't quite finish off that last 15 balls. So, you know, it was going to be a learning for us and something we could improve on moving forward.
You know, you don't want to get too emotional and sort of too reactive to wins and losses. And it's all about sort of trying to maintain that sort of confidence.
You know, we're close. We've got to move on pretty quickly, take some learnings from it. But let's move on pretty quickly.
We've got a real unique opportunity here in Cardiff to bring cricket to Wales and represent, you know, a country. I think, you know, we do talk about that. Yes, we're not the Welsh team. I'm not Welsh. A lot of the players aren't Welsh, but it's something that, you know, Welsh fans can be proud of.
Yeah, the men's and women's teams, you know, we both see ourselves as sort of one team. Yeah, to be honest, there's not been any real mention of what's gone before. Subconsciously, I've seen this as a pretty fresh start, and we spoke about it at the start of the competition, really trying to sort of represent the Welsh Fire as one big group, and we tried to establish a bit of pride.
I've really enjoyed being here in Wales, so we've learned a bit of Welsh along the way, which has been fun.
Hoyle, which is a Welsh word for like grit, determination.
Calon, which in Welsh means heart. Try and play with that heart, that passion, and try and sort of bring a real good feeling to Cardiff.
It was noticeable in the first couple of interviews we did with Mike Hussey. He was always full of praise of his skipper. I thought that was quite switched on from Hussey to praise his captain, rightly so.
So what have Manchester done? They lost to us, had one rained off, didn't they?
Yeah.
Is this her third game?
Yeah.
Huss has been absolutely phenomenal. Just a real good influence around the group. We all know Mr. Cricket, he's obviously a legend. But yeah, getting to know him on a more personal level has been great. He's just allowed us to be ourselves. He wants us to play with that freedom, and I think he's been a huge influence in terms of bringing the group together. You know, we've had some team meetings where, you know, we have a laugh at each other's expense.
Yes, we want the individuals to do well for themselves, but the team is more important, and sometimes you have to sacrifice your own performance a little bit for the team, and we try and celebrate the team acts, and he's sort of right on board with all that. That's who he is as a person, as a character. So I think, you know, we're just getting started, really, and then certainly our relationship is growing all the time. Really enjoyed working with him, and I feel, I'm hoping that it's a relationship that can, you know, build over the next few years.
It's one thing kind of getting your tournament started well, but it's another going down to one of the biggest stadiums, playing the double champions in the Oval Invincibles, and really being fired up to take on your biggest challenge, going against the big guns and really causing an upset.
When I got everyone together and I said, right, let's make sure that we do ours. I thought it was absolutely brilliant how the bowlers bowled, and I had to adapt a little bit. I normally want to bowl a bit more spin in the power play, but for Shabs to bowl the way she did against her old team at our old home ground was massive, but the entire bowling unit just had an absolute day out. And when I look back and we had them 40 for 8, I don't know how they got 80, but when we come off the pitch only chasing 80, I was absolutely ecstatic.
Doesn't get it through, there's a fumble. That sort of sums up a little bit of Oval Invincibles cricket today, but it's congratulations to Tammy Beaumont and her team, the Welsh Fire. Welsh Fire win.
Welcome back to the Oval for the final game in our double header day. This is how the men's 100 stands. Welsh Fire third, having won one, lost one. They lost a really close one against the Southern Brave. It is set up beautifully, a great venue. The weather looks decent. There's some blue sky above. And if in doubt, have a bat.
So the Welsh Fire men had posted 139, which most times on that wicket in those conditions you'd say is under par. So at the halfway stage you felt it was very much tilted towards the home side. Tom Curran coming in at number 7, and he is a genuine all-rounder.
As again, well struck. And this time he finds the boundary. Oh, that's big. That sounded good. That's meaty, that's 6.
That is a huge 6. The sound off the bat.
10 off 3, you have to know where is my boundary.
Bang! It's out of the Oval. It is massive. And what a time to hit a 6. Wow.
Again, it was a nail-biter. Tom Curran played a brilliant little knock to sort of draw them level. But I thought the way Payne, sort of the character he showed at the death, you know, having been hit for 6, I think, with 3 balls to go, and then to come back and execute his Yorkers the way he did, I thought was a huge effort from him.
Here comes Payne, final ball. Flicked away onside. Straight to the fielder. The throw is good. There's a dive from Tom Curran. He might have just made his ground. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
The ball into her hands. It looked like his bat was on the line, so he started celebrating.
Not out! It's a tie!
To sort of not quite get over the line was pretty gutting. But yeah, it was a brilliant game of cricket, wasn't it? And yeah, very fine margins.
Very happy with the score we got, getting 130 something.
Beaumont, oh, that's fantastic.
Quite a tough wicket if you bowl your slower balls into the wicket or hold your length well. It's actually really hard to start on, and it's really quite difficult to score.
137 on the wicket up at Edgbaston. I think most days you'd say, look, that's par or just above, you would take it.
Well, it will be the most successful chase of the season should the Birmingham Phoenix manage to overcome the 137 for 7 made by the Welsh Fire.
Amy Jones coming out, Tess Flintoff, and they ran away with it. Pretty much 100 on the board.
My big thing as a captain is that I've never bowled a ball in professional cricket in my life, and I'm not an expert on bowling. Like, each bowler is an expert on their own bowling, so if there's like a 50-50 call, I'm going to go with what they want. Right, Shabs, there are the options, what do you want to do? And what one are you backing? She's like, I'm backing my Yorker today. I was like, okay, cool, let's set that field for this one. Let's get Amy off strike, and then let's see. And obviously we got Amy off strike, and then Tess came down the wicket and hit that 4, and I was like, oh, we've set the wrong field, like, she's not going to do that.
Here it is, but that is wonderfully played. Give yourself some room. Tess Flintoff, absolutely superb through the offside.
So Birmingham Phoenix 4 to win off 3 balls, and it feels like the game was pretty much run away and over with, but this is when you need your big players.
And I ran up to Shabs, I was like, right, so what's your plan here? She's like, yeah, I'm going to bowl Yorker, I'm going to bowl Yorker. I was like, okay, cool.
Bolter, straight through! Shabnam Ismail bounces back.
Then the next one is like, right, Shabs, what are you going to do here? She's like, yeah, I've just bowled a Yorker, I'm going to bowl another one. I was like, okay, cool.
When you think you've lost a game, there are only few players in the world you can chuck a ball to or say, get us out of a hole.
Chance gone! Oh, back-to-back for Shabnam Ismail!
Pretty much had no choice but to catch that or end up in hospital on her face. So last ball, 4 to win. We're like, right, okay, Shabs, what are you going to do, mate? What are you going to do? Yeah, I'm going to go Yorker again. I'm going to go Yorker again. I was like, okay, mate, you do it. Like, go for it, mate. I'm backing you. I'm backing you.
Ismail to Wong. For Shabnam Ismail! South African speedster!
But she missed her Yorker by a mile.
Yeah, I think we did feed off the energy. At that time, both teams were playing really good cricket, and obviously the women's team, have been outstanding throughout the competition. They played some incredible cricket.
And Shabnam Ismail finishing the women's game with a hat-trick. What is in store for us over the next couple of hours or so?
From start to finish that game, I thought, we were brilliant.
Bowled him straight through. Went full, went straight.
Highly intelligent bowling, great technical skill, 112 for 7.
It could have been one of those awkward little nasty run chases on that pitch.
The hand that Eski played at the top, for him to play in that manner was brilliant, and I guess took the pressure off everyone else, and the only thing that was going to bring them back into the game was wickets, so it was a case of trying to be there at the end.
That will be that. Beautifully stroked over extra cover by Tom Abell, the skipper, finishing the job for Welsh Fire, and it's a double for the Welsh here in Birmingham.
Been on the road for three games in a row, and to lose one just, tie one at the Oval, and then take a win from Birmingham, I think I think the boys were pretty happy with their work.
I think it was the first time that both the men's and women's Welsh Fire team have won on the same day, so there was a great feeling among the whole group that day, and it was nice to get another win to show for the good performances in the previous couple of games.
When you get to my age, you have routines, you do the same thing every day, and you just hope it's going to be a good day.
And the Welsh Fire skipper, Tammy Beaumont, feels like she's almost Welsh, the way that she goes about her business.
She's played beautifully, and again, her placing has been excellent.
Well, it's been eye-catching, hasn't it? The shots she's played, the way she's found the gaps in the field as well.
Lizelle Lee, keeping wicket, was like, you're one hit away here. And I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm not you. I can't hit sixes for fun.
Right, 98. I'll definitely get one. And that is it. For someone who's been timing so nicely, it's just left her a little bit here. 144 on the board after 80. Into the record books once again for Tammy Beaumont in her magical summer of firsts. First Englishwoman to score a Test double 100 in the Ashes, and today at home, the captain is the first woman to hit a ton in the 100. What a summer, what a player.
What's the best options, what can I do to take the game on, and yeah, then probably after I got to 100, I was like, right, well, just try absolutely anything now, and that's where the switch it came out, and that worked as well. So one of those days, really, I think when you're in the moment and when you're in the zone, you don't think too much about, oh, I want to score a record score. I certainly don't. I don't work like that. I think I then get too far ahead of myself. For me, we keep joking, we use the Welsh slang, stay in the now in a minute, because they love to add in a minute on everything. So for me, it was, yeah, just stay in the now.
From where they were to where they've got to, that is a massive jump.
But the Welsh Fire have been brilliant today, and the women in red have put the past firmly behind them. Their fire now burns brightly in Wales as they join the Southern Brave and the Northern Superchargers in the next round.
You just think about where they've come from to this point last season was a shocker. There's still one more step to go. You want to lift the competition cup.
Southern Brave, Welsh Fire and Northern Superchargers will go through, and all of those three teams have one match left. Welsh Fire play against the Superchargers, and Welsh Fire could go top should Southern Brave trip up in their last match.
Some showers in the distance. Tammy Beaumont won the toss. It's second versus third. A little bit of a surprise to win the toss and have a bat, but Tammy Beaumont said it suited her side. Two form players at the crease for the Welsh Fire. One has found a form as the summer has gone along, and that's Sophia Dunkley. The other one has been in great nick throughout the whole summer, and that is Tammy Beaumont.
The Welsh Fire skipper sits back deep in the crease. Gets it right in the slot, 75 metres.
Towards backward point, that will skip across this outfield. As wet as it is, it'll still make it to the boundary for four.
Wondering whether there is lightning in the area just beyond the stand, far side. I just wonder whether that's the communication they're having.
If they don't complete the game, then it will be Northern Superchargers who go through, because they finished second in the group and not third. Welsh Fire did finish third.
I thought they would have won that game, the eliminator. They didn't. They were hard done by with the weather.
Well, some great moments in the 100 so far. That is not a great moment, unfortunately, for Tammy Beaumont, because that is it. The match has been abandoned. It means that Holly Armitage and the Northern Superchargers will progress through to the final, because they finished second in the group.
Absolutely devastated to go out because of the rain, really. Like, I know you can't book the weather, and it's kind of been the story of the 100 for some teams. Absolutely devastated. I think it almost would be easier to take if you'd been well beaten or even lost a close game against a good team. Credit to Northern Superchargers, you know, they've had a really good campaign and thoroughly deserved to be in the final. But yeah, I think on the day, it looked like it was heading towards a really great game of cricket. I thought we were about to set a really good total and would have backed our bowlers to defend anything. So the fact that we didn't get kind of a natural conclusion is really tough to take. And yeah, we've been emotional. There's been some tears already. Yeah, but what a campaign we've had. Incredibly proud of the girls and all the staff for how we've gone, and what a turnaround, really. And it's such a shame that, you know, sport and life is incredibly cruel, and you know, you dream of the fairy tale ending, finishing bottom last year, and then maybe having this turnaround and hopefully, you know, making that Lord's final and lifting a trophy, but it just wasn't to be, and it's a real shame and going to take some getting over, I think.
They put their hat in the mix and they got themselves towards those later stages. Yes, the men finished fourth, pipped by the Southern Brave, but they were starting to build that momentum that were getting players scared.
They've now got to work out, right, and the women, how do we challenge the Invincibles and the Brave consistently? How do we make sure we're in finals? And the next jump for the men is to go again, because the other sides are going to be improving. Mike Hussey will try and make that side even better, but what they did this year for both of them was fantastic.
We spoke about how we wanted to play. We spoke about what we wanted to do. We wanted to be inspiring. We wanted to build a family. We wanted to be inclusive. We wanted to play exciting cricket. The way the teams played every single game, yeah, I feel like we've achieved something. And yes, I've been part of that, but actually the entire squad has as well.
I've absolutely loved it. We've got a brilliant group here. We've all got on incredibly well. I feel very fortunate to have been part of this group. I really feel like hopefully we can build on that. Thank you very much. Make this franchise successful in the next couple of years.
But it's more about the people. I think the people that work here have been fantastic, great support. But the players and the staff that I've got behind me as well have been superb. I can just see the relationships growing right in front of us. I can see just the trust building, the getting to know each other, the rapport. You can just actually see it coming together, and I think that's what excites me the most. It's just we've got great people.
There's always a bit of an edge to that game, and it's still a real big game of cricket.
A day that promises to be action-packed.
I honestly couldn't have predicted any of the events from that day.
All is not well in the world of Sophie Eccleston.
Chaos.